everybody. I hope you guys are doing good and I hope you're enjoying this new year. As you can see, we got some beautiful snow today, the day I am filming, and it is just gorgeous outside right now. I love the winter time. Even though I don't like being cold, when it snows, the beauty of the white just reminds me of God's forgiveness and just how much He actually loves us. So we are going to focus on God's love this month in our art projects. We all know Valentine's Day is in February, so we are going to take that and we are going to talk about God's love and do a fun art project together. Well, I'm back inside where it's warm. I have my cup of tea and I'm ready to do some art with you guys. Now, the project for this month is a Valentine Penguin. Okay, we are drawing a penguin for a couple reasons. We are drawing a penguin because, well, as you saw, it's still very cold outside, so I think a penguin is fitting for the month. Also, we are going to use hearts to draw our penguin. As you can see, there's lots of heart shapes in our penguin this month. And we also are going to talk about the colors of our penguin. As I mentioned, it's February. It's the month of Valentine's Day. And we are going to focus on God's love this month. And as you can remember, some of you know John 3:16. If you know it, say it with me. For God so loved the world that He gave His only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in Him shall not perish, but have everlasting life. So what we're going to do is we are going to talk about what the colors of our penguin represents. First of all, the black color of our penguin represents the sin in our lives. It's all the bad things we've done. And that is represented by the black body of the penguin. The red of the penguin represents the sacrifice God gave by dying on the cross for us. He loved us and loves us so much that He sent His only Son, Jesus Christ, to die for us, so that when we ask Him into our hearts and ask Him to forgive us, He will take away all this black sin in our lives and He will make us white as snow. And that's what the penguin's white face represents, the forgiveness of our sins that God gives us when we ask Him into our hearts. So I hope you guys enjoy drawing these penguins with me, and I'm going to go ahead and start and let you know the materials you're going to need so we can start drawing our penguins. The materials you're going to need for this month's project is a piece of white paper from your drawing pad, or just a piece of copy paper if you don't have a drawing pad, your washable markers, a pencil and an eraser, and your colored pencils. Now, the first step we're going to do for our penguin this month is we are going to draw his body. Now, the majority of the penguin is used by drawing hearts, but to draw the main body, we're just going to make a big, huge frowny face, or an upside down letter U. So go ahead and take your paper. As you can see, I have my paper facing up and down vertically like this. Now, I will say, if any of you are thinking, oh, it would really be cute to draw a baby penguin too, you can always turn your paper this way and you can draw a mama penguin or a daddy penguin there and a little baby penguin next to it. So that's your choosing. If you want to draw one big penguin or a couple little penguins, you can decide that on your own. But I'm going to show you how to just draw one nice big penguin. Okay, so I'm going to take my paper and I'm going to start at the bottom of my paper. And again, some of the stuff is pre-drawn a little bit because it just makes the video go a little easier and quicker. So these don't get too terribly long. So I'm just going to start at the bottom of my paper here. And I am just going to make a big, deep, frowny face. Or an upside down letter U, however you want to look at it. I want a nice big penguin. So I should have something that looks like that. Once you have the main portion of his body drawn, we're going to draw our first heart of our penguin, and that's going to be his nice little white face. We're going to just draw a nice big heart right in the center of our penguin's body to give him his white face. So I'm going to just come up here towards the top of my penguin's body, and once you know it, look there. My pencil just broke. Let's see if we have a backup here close by. Nope, here's one. Excuse me there for a minute. Okay, now I'm just going to go up to the top of my penguin's body, and I'm going to make a nice big heart in the center of my penguin's body to give him a nice big white face. And again, the white face is going to represent God's forgiveness. So you should have something that looks similar to this. Once you have his face drawn, we're now going to go and give him his little flippers for his arms. And as you can see, you probably can tell, they're just upside down hearts. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come to the side of his body here. Oh, about the middle. If you look down the side of his body, about halfway down here. Sorry, let me hold that down a little closer so you can see. About halfway down his body, I'm going to start and I'm going to draw a long, narrow heart for his flipper. So I'm just going to draw an upside down heart. And I'm making this one kind of long and skinny. So you should have something that looks similar to that. And then I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. And now our penguin has arms, or flippers. Next, we're going to give our penguin some feet. Now, if you look here, his feet are just the top of two hearts. So I didn't draw a whole heart, I just drew the top of a heart. So I just came down to the bottom of my paper and I just drew a top of a heart twice to give it, well, to make it look like he has feet. So you should have something that looks like this. Now it's time to give our penguin a face. And as you can see, I made another heart for his beak. So I just went to the center of the heart for his face and I drew a heart right there in the middle. Now you can decide how big you want your penguin's beak to be. Maybe he has a nice big beak or maybe he has a smaller beak. Just go ahead and draw a heart in the middle of the penguin's face for his beak. And then once you have the heart drawn for his beak, we're going to go in and we're going to give him a little mouth. So we're just going to draw a wide letter V. Well, it depends on how wide or how skinny your heart is. But just towards the bottom of your heart, just draw a V connecting one side of the heart to the other side of the heart. And that'll give a little impression that he has a little mouth. Something like that. And then the last thing for his beak is I just came up here at the top of the heart and on each side just drew two short little angled lines pointing outwards to represent little nostrils. So you should have something that looks similar to that. Now it's time to draw the final heart, and that is the penguin's eyes. So I'm going to go above the beak, and I'm going to draw the top of another heart right above the center of my beak, making it about the same width as the heart I drew for my beak. So I'll show you here. I'm just going to go to the top of my beak, and I'm going to try to eye the center of my beak, and that's where I'm going to start the heart for my eyes. So again, we're just drawing the top of a heart again, kind of like we did for his feet, like that. And then I'm going to come up here and I'm going to draw a straight line right down through that heart till it meets the top center of the heart I drew for his beak. And there you have your pilgrim's eyes. Once you have that part done, you can go ahead and draw some circles inside of his eyes to represent his pupils, like this. And then you can add some smaller circles inside of the pupils to give some light reflection. It brings a little bit of life to his eyes. And now you should have a nice drawing of your penguin. Now that we have our penguin drawn, we're going to start coloring him in. So the first thing I did was I took my black marker and I outlined my penguin's body, the big frowny face or upside down U shape, with the black marker, and then I outlined his little flippers, the upside down hearts for his flippers, with the black marker. The reason we're outlining our penguin with the black marker is so we don't lose our nice lines or how neatly we color, we can lose our lines in our drawing. So by outlining our penguin's body and all the hearts we drew to make his body, that will make sure our lines show through after we color. Again, I'm just outlining the outside of his body and then the upside down hearts that we drew for his flippers. Now, if you don't trace your lines, your pencil lines perfectly, that's okay. Once you give the marker time to dry, then you can go back with your eraser and erase those lines, okay? The next step is to get your red marker, and we are going to outline the penguin's face, the big heart we drew for the penguin's white face, and his little feet with the red marker. Now the red is representing God's love and the color of his blood for the sacrifice that he gave on the cross. So that's why we're going to use some red for the face and the feet to make sure we have that color in our project. And make sure you're taking your time and trying to trace those pencil lines as good as you can. Okay, neat project at the end. But there's my penguin with the red hearts traced. Once you have your red hearts outlined, you can grab your orange marker. And we are going to outline our penguin's beak in orange. So I'm going to just take my orange marker and I'm going to come up here to his beak. I'm just going to outline that heart in orange. And then I'm also going to outline the V that I drew inside for his smile and the little lines for his little nostrils. Just like that. Now the last thing to outline before we start coloring with our colored pencils are his eyes. So I'm going to take my black marker. Now I'm going to give my penguin black eyes, but if you want to give him blue eyes or a different color, you can do that. Brown eyes, but I'm going to just make them black. So I'm going to outline the outside of his eyes, the pupils, and my reflection spots inside his pupils with my black marker. Just like that. And now your whole penguin should be outlined with marker. The next step is to start coloring our penguins in. So you can go ahead and grab your colored pencils. Now the reason we're using colored pencils is because the colored pencil can color over our marker lines and our marker lines will still show through. So we don't have to worry about covering up our nice marker lines, so we can see all of our different hearts in the end after we color our penguin. We also haven't used color pencils much this year, so we are going to just have fun using them this month. Now I'm going to go in and all the things I outlined in black, I'm going to color with my black color pencil, except for the white of his eyes and the reflection spots. So I'm just going to go in and I'm just going to start coloring my penguin. Now again, take your time with your pencil strokes, okay? Try to make your penguin look nice and neat so you have a nice neat project at the end. Practice those controlling your pencil here. And then one more thing I want to talk about why we color is blending. And I'm sure you guys have heard me talk about blending before. As you can see, sometimes when you color with a colored pencil, depending on how hard you're pressing, you can see the white of the paper through your colored pencil. And that's okay. In some cases, that's fine. But if you don't want that white to show, one way you can help cover that white up is by blending in another color. Also, by blending in another color, it makes your project more colorful and more interesting. So instead of just having plain black, I added in some purple, and it's hard to see here on the camera. It's much easier to see in person, but you can kind of see the difference. See how this is darker up here at the top of his flipper opposed to the bottom? This is where I used the purple to blend in with my black. So I just took my purple pencil. You could also use a blue one if you would prefer. And I just went back in and I just colored over my black pencil. And it gave a nice little touch of purple to my penguin. And it also helped cover up some of that white paper that was wanting to shine through my black. So here you can see the difference. So think about blending as you color your penguin in. The reason I did not blend my purple throughout his whole flipper is because I wanted that contrast. See how this is darker up here towards the top and lighter? So I kind of was making this more like shadows and this more like highlights. But you don't have to do that. You can just color the whole thing in with your purple crayon and blend it all in if you want to. Now once I get all my black colored, as we remember, the black is representing the sin in our lives, okay? So that is what the black color of the penguin is representing. We can go ahead and grab our red, and we can start coloring in his red feet. Now I know we outlined his face with a red marker, but we are not coloring his face in red. We're leaving that white, okay? We're going to leave his face white, and this white face is going to represent the forgiveness that God shows us and gives us through his sacrifice on the cross. So I'm just going to take my pencil, my red pencil, and color in his feet. Once you have his feet all colored in, you can take your orange colored pencil and you can color in his beak. Now another example of blending is that you could blend yellow in with the orange, and you can make his beak a little more colorful and brighter as well. I'm not sure if it's picking up on the camera, but you can kind of see where I put some yellow in with my orange and how it makes it brighter. So you can go ahead and grab your yellow pencil and color some yellow on top of your orange and blend those two colors together. Or maybe you have a big box of colored pencils that has a bunch of different shades, and you have a bunch of different shades of orange you could just layer on top of each other or blend together as well. So go ahead and color in your penguin's beak. Now the last thing to color on our penguin is the pupils of his eyes. Now again, I'm going to make them black, but if you want to give your penguin blue eyes, for example, you could do that as well. Just make sure you don't color in that little reflection spot that you drew inside of his pupil. So you can go ahead and color in your penguin's eyes. Once you have your penguin all colored, it's time to think about the background you want to give your penguin. Now, as you can see, since this is a Valentine project, I decided to put lots of hearts around him, and I used my whites and my reds and my pinks. And so I went in and just made a lot of pretty hearts surrounding my penguin just to represent Valentine's Day and God's love. Now maybe you look at this and you're like, Mrs. Glasgow, that is way too much pink, way too many hearts. That is okay. You can put whatever background you want around your penguin. Maybe you want to just put some colorful stripes behind him. Maybe you want to just color it solid and make it one solid color. My little girl, she made one with me, and she put a sun behind her penguin and made like hearts like they were clouds. Maybe you want to get creative like that. You could also make it look like it was snowing if you'd want to put some snowflakes around him, or draw some icebergs like he's out in the wintry cold. You could do that as well. So those are just some ideas that you can think about when deciding on how you want to fill in your background or the space around your penguin. So have fun. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed drawing your Valentine penguin this month. I am so excited to see your penguins and what you came up with. Here's one last look of my finished project. And I hope you guys had fun with these. I look forward to seeing you in next month's video. And remember, God loves you very much. Bye, guys.